Welcome to Squatch-D, where the truth is first before all else. Join your hosts, veteran investigator, TV personality, and author Steve Kulls, and from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Project and the Kentucky Fried Fixes channel, Chris Bennett. Sit back and prepare to take yourself on a journey with the longest-running Bigfoot podcast, Squatch-D. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D for today's date, March 30th, 2025. I am your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, along with my co-host, Mr. Chris Bennett. Hey, what's up, Chris?
Steve, man, it's good to see you. Dude, it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. Just yesterday, one of our fans actually reached out and said, Steve, are you okay? How's your health doing?
Yeah.
Because I know when we were last on, we were all congested and
Right.
But it was just one of those damn things that just like to hang on. Feeling fine, feeling good, just it's still all congested. That much over the last few days has kind of resolved itself pretty much. Still once in a while, but nothing too great or extreme. So I am back, I am better, and I am raring to go. So
I finally got to where I could walk a little bit yesterday. So we went to the grocery store, first time in 2 weeks.
Well,
everybody was complaining about, we'd ran out of soft drinks. So everybody was having to drink these instant drink mixes that you mix up one glass at a time. And they were tickled to death to get the colas and the Coca-Colas and all that stuff back.
Oh, and don't forget the ski.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget the ski.
Gotta have ski.
But it was, and not to mention, I only took, a day off from work, or maybe 2 days off from work from this whole raspy thing. And that was way back when. So I've been working, and the weather has been not good again.
Well,
so it just, can't make up its mind.
Well, we have gone directly from running the furnace at night for heat to had to switch on the air conditioner. I mean, just one from the other. It's not like usually we get about a month,
I'm not gonna, lie to you. But yesterday we had freezing rain.
Oh my goodness!
We had an ice storm yesterday night.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it went down to like 28 degrees last night.
Well, normally we get about a month break on the electric bill. Okay, I can, all my stuff is my heater and heating and the cooling is all electric. And usually we can leave it off for about a month this time of year. And we don't really need to turn on the air conditioner till probably maybe the first week of May or something like that. But no. We run an air conditioner now. Kentucky's in the tropics now. I think maybe the world is moving or something. Well, I guess the world does move all the time, but the continents are moving or something because Kentucky is really warm for this time of year. But
So Boris asked us what happened to that Bigfoot video dead hiker topic. I have to revisit that one. It wasn't a major story. It was just somebody trying to play off a Bigfoot being responsible for this missing hiker and all this.
Right.
When really what it was a dude just probably dying of hypothermia. Or no, actually, I'm sorry. He fell off a cliff because they found him in the bottom of a canyon.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I got the story was that he had some
and Grant asked again, what about Paul Revere Squatch?
Yeah.
There he is, taking up arms.
Well, I did some research on that story about the guy. He's supposed to have some photos on his phone or his camera or something.
Oh, yeah. And it was all Holstein.
Yeah. I couldn't find anything. So I don't know. But the headlines of the story made it seem like, oh, Bigfoot killed this guy, and during his last moments of life, he was able to take 3 or 4
Grant,
graphic
he
evidence.
got off the horse to help repel the British.
Well, at first I thought he was holding an oar there. He might be.
No, that's just tree knocker. That's just
Okay.
tree knocker.
Okay. I thought he might be like crossing the Delaware or something there, but missing the boat in the river.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Not
Pretty
too bad.
All reverse.
Not too bad. So let's do our roll call, which we haven't done in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Now, folks, I will say this. We'll just get into a quick announcement. I don't know if right now we're going to be doing shows on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being is I get home from work and I'm pretty beat. And I've been working on a lot of projects. Chris doesn't even know this because I didn't even know this a week ago. But I just started my 8th book.
Another.
However, this one is not on the topic of Bigfoot.
What's this one going to be about?
I'd rather not say right now.
Secret. Okay, I got you.
Not publicly anyway. I'll tell you. I'll tell you off. I know a lot of people are going, "Hey, wait."
Well, that's the thing. Yeah,
ideas can be stolen at the whim, so I don't want to broadcast it over the air.
Exactly. Before you release the book, you need to go ahead. I mean, don't need to talk about your title subject before you release the book.
And because of the topic of the book, I don't write like massive writing. I do a chapter here, I do a chapter there.
Right. Because
to delve into it on a full-time basis, like I did the other 3 books that I wrote at the beginning of the year,
right,
would definitely drive me insane.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I think you ought to just, like most writers, they'll jump right into it when they get in the mood and they'll just write the heck out of them.
Right.
And then, if you lose inspiration or you need to take a break away from it, that's good too.
Yep.
Get back to it when it's inspired again, hit it again.
Now, you see, I haven't been coughing all night. And the minute I get on the air, I start coughing.
Oh, well.
I don't know what it is.
But notice here we got, I don't recognize this member here.
Well, we do have a new member. Oh, hang on. We do have a new member tonight. New YouTube member, Randy Simpson. Thank you, sir, and welcome aboard.
Welcome, Randy. Good to see you, bud.
So go ahead. We do have...
the methadone for life. As long as you aren't going woo, I will be around listening as I have since the beginning days of Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, I remember you. I remember you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to see you, bud.
And to answer that question, no, we're not going woo. Definitely not going woo.
No.
Yeah, and you'll understand this new attitude here in a bit. So he was first in tonight. You was first in tonight. Of course, we got Sharon. Mick is in the house. Of course, Roy Longley, our lurking representative.
Roy.
John, Sasquatch Wizard, Adirondacks, Relic Hominin will catch us tomorrow. Grant Russia. Henry May, what's going on, Henry? Pete H, good to see you, Pete. Pat Collins, what's up, brother?
Check out Henry May's HB May's Crypto Corner, and also he's doing the UFO Corner too.
That's right. Danny Weeks in the house as well. Lazy Cowboy. Hello, Lazy Cowboy. Good to see you again, my friend. Randy Simpson, of course.
Randy.
Thanks again for the becoming a member. Helton, aka Faster Man, how's it going in? Who else? Ron Meldrum. Good to see you, Ron. Hello. Boris Khan, Goony Goo Goo. Angel Nolan. Hello, Angel. Hello. Good to see you. Robert Denduven. Hello. Arthur Watch in the house. Who else we got? I'm
lost again.
Shorty Hens. I love that name. Shorty, good to see you. Who else? I like Ike. I like Ike is back in the house. Hello, good to see you again. I like Ike. And we already said Angel Nolan. And I think finding the trackway, Bill. What's happening? Bill is in the house. Good to see you.
You already mentioned Randy Simpson. Okay, Randy.
Okay, and Mrs. Trackway, Deb, what's going on? So here we are. And I'm sure there's going to be a few others.
Did you get Grasshopper?
Grasshopper, of course.
See him in there, yeah.
He did. He made one quick post there. I mean, the posts are flying tonight.
I am. Okay, good. I finally made it down to the bottom. I got lost there for a minute. But welcome, everybody. Thank y'all for joining us.
So, the last few weeks, there's been a little change in my attitude when it comes to Bigfoot research. I've been a lot more quiet about things. I've got a lot of huge things planned, and I've got one hint up so far, just one hint. But there has been other developments, and because Chris, you jumped on a little bit late tonight in pre-show, I got more to tell you, man.
Okay.
There's stuff going on this week. All good stuff, needless to say. But,
give me a post-show update there. Yeah, my pizza didn't come out of the oven until about 7:35 my time. And
so I like Ike says, can't figure out your email address. admin@squatchdetective.com. I'll put it right there in the chat for you.
Yeah.
And there it
is. But yeah, I'm going to get downstairs here and check out Henry's latest entries on HB May's Crypto Corner, and also if he's done it. I don't know if he's done a UFO corner or not this week or not, Henry, or if he's going to do one. But yeah, I've been kind of stuck upstairs until yesterday. Been down in the back, and when I get like that, I don't like to go up and down stairs. It's kind of a pain.
There we go. Yeah, see, I don't cough all day long, and then I get on the air and start talking.
Henry's going to be doing a new UFO corner tomorrow. I like those. Those are interesting. Anything to do with mystery, I'm all on board. A lot of times Henry will do the updates on the Loch Ness Monster, which, Steve's got a background with NatGeo on the Loch Ness Monster. So I kind of follow that too.
I don't follow Loch Ness Monster anymore.
Well, when they have a new sighting or something, a new photo, I want to see it. I want to see it.
Oh yeah. It's amazing. I don't even like I've been on this tear on Facebook. If somebody posts a Bullstein picture, and this is again part of the whole new attitude, I just block the person.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm not even going to argue with it. I'm just going to block and get him out of my life, because my whole thing right now is stay in my lane, stay what I've been true to.
Yeah.
The prolific hoaxers are one thing. These people that are just posting garbage on the internet for the sake of posting something, I have no time for.
Right. Well,
Chris's turn.
99% of the time, these Loch Ness photos are not really that good.
Right. None are.
Yes, but I live in hope. I live in hope. One day I'll open the new photo up and it's gonna be like, wow, there it is. Looking at me.
Here's the interesting thing when it comes to photos. One would think that if you're going to get a clear photo, it's going to be of a cryptid like the Loch Ness Monster or Champ or something like that. Because there's a lot of times there's the water, there's nothing in between you and that.
Right.
Whereas in the forest, we have every leaf and every branch between you and the Bigfoot.
Yes.
It's going to catch the attention of the autofocus.
Right. You pull out your camera or your phone and then, zoom. You've got a perfectly clear picture of the tree next to you. And everything else from there on is blurred.
Right. Yeah, there is. So that's one thing I've been doing is that somebody's posting garbage. I've been blocking a lot of people just because I don't want to see their garbage. And you know what? If they're going to post garbage and act like, oh, here goes the greatest picture of Bigfoot taken in California, and they're posting that stupid back end of the gorilla, guess what? You're blocked. I'm sick of seeing your stupid nonsense.
Well, a lot of times those I still see photos every now and then with a red circle or a red line.
Actually, Velvet, I think I think Velvet said the alien mystery may be discovered deep under the pyramids of Gaza. Actually, I think it's going to be it's going to be found under Mick's mother-in-law's meatloaf. I tell you the truth on that one.
Yeah, I think that would be Giza. I don't think Gaza has any pyramids. But yeah, say it's very, very close, very similar names they are.
But so yeah, so that's one thing that's been going on, and like I said, we've been working really hard on developing a new project. And
you going to talk about that?
Let's just say that we're in the beginning stages of it, and that's basically the assembly of the people that are going to be in the project. And I've already picked my investigation operations lead. That's already done. This week, I'll say this too. This week, I might be exploring a new research area, or at least have the potential of exploring a new research area. And it all depends on my interview of said witness.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I have trepidations when you meet a new witness sometimes, especially when they actually request a meeting of you. You know, being who I am, you take it with a little bit of caution. And it just so happened that the conversation started at the beginning of last week, and it ended up, just before the weekend broke. And my only consternation is that we're meeting Tuesday, and that's got me worried too, because Tuesday is what? Tuesday's what, folks? Anybody know?
Well, you kind of cut out there for a second on me.
So I'm sorry, we're meeting Tuesday. So my only consternation is Tuesday's what? April.
Yeah, the 1st.
So I have a little bit of consternation about that.
Don't worry about that. No, don't worry.
But I have done at least one security check on it.
Yeah.
And the communications have originated from an area one would consider squatchy.
Yeah.
So that's one good side. It's not like it's coming from a city. So
it's not going to be somebody from.
So I believe everything. It might just be coincidence that it turned out that Tuesday was going to be the day for the rolling, because we didn't know last week.
Right.
So we shall see. See what happens with that.
And I saw that Pat, or that comment Pat Collins made a little early. I'm not going to put that up. That was killing me.
Oh, I didn't see it.
I don't think we will put this up.
Okay, we won't put it up then. So we have that involved, and this could very well tie in with a project that had not been announced really officially, and actually got a very soft announcement today. And how did it get an announcement? Well, one thing I have neglected over the last few years, and while we were building this channel up, was I was really neglecting the website a bit. I put some ads in there and some things on there over the years, but it really needed a good makeover. And today, I am very proud to say that we do have that new makeover on the website. At least the initial part of it, we probably got the website about 60 to 70% done. And as you can see, I'm scrolling through the website now. And as you can see, there is the soft announcement of the project we have upcoming. It's a long-term project. It's not something that's going to be, 3 months and done. This is probably going to be on a 3 to 4 year plan. So
I like the new drop down menus you added with
Yep.
resources and the interactive, especially the newsroom on the interactive.
Yep. Well, not only that, but under resources, you now have Squatch-D University, and you have a quick link to the audio library, which if anybody wants to hear alleged Sasquatch audio, North American fauna and primate audio, there is your and some of the audio we've caught in the last.
Yes, and there is an Easter egg in the audio library.
There is an Easter egg.
Need to check it out.
Of course, we're still going to sharpen up the Squatch-D University page. That's going to be under construction too.
Yeah.
The other thing is we moved our events over to an events page.
Yeah. Damn.
And now we have the events, and each event has a link to the event web page, so you can go over there and. So it's really what was needed, and of course, we got the link here to the channel, and we have, of course, the link to the books and all the new books. And that reminds me, just 5 short days or 6 short days from now, April 5th, we have the new book, What Would Sasquatch Do? Volume 2 is coming out as well.
Yeah.
So. And of course, we want to feature the 5 tenets of Bigfoot research, new for 2025. We changed them up just a little bit. And, certain pages are going to get makeovers to boot too. I mean, the 5 tenets page did get a little bit of a reboot as well. So.
Click on that interactive up there and show everybody the news.
I cannot, because I'm not using Google Chrome. I'm using Opera, and it doesn't propagate properly in Opera. It only propagates good in Google Chrome. I suppose I could do this.
Well, you want me to do it and share a screen?
No, here I go.
Okay. Because I want everybody to get a look at that news feed. Yeah, this pops up all the latest articles on Bigfoot related stuff.
And then also, if you're so interested, there's also the Bigfoot Reddit feed.
Yeah.
So you have all your newest Bigfoot stories on the Bigfoot Bigfoot Reddit feed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Very good. I like those, especially the click and it pops up all the latest stories on Bigfoot. I like that. Very good resource.
So I'm just trying to get back to where we were originally. There we are. So,
and Velvet Jones, welcome.
Velvet Jones.
Velvet Jones.
You know, remember Velvet Jones on Saturday Night Live?
No.
That was Eddie Murphy, I think.
I can't recall. I haven't watched Saturday Night Live for a long time, Steve. Long time. Just every now and then I'll watch a sketch or a skit from one of the outtakes of it, but I've not watched the show for years, decades, maybe. Been a long time.
Yeah, I mean, the show has not been as funny as it's been in the past number of years. So
In the 80s, it was great.
Yeah.
And they also had a show called Fridays in the 80s. It was good. I like that. Had Michael Richards and a few others on there. He was hilarious. This was before Michael Richards had his breakdown, but he was a pretty good comedian at that time.
So I'm just pulling something up real quick. Okay, there we are. So let me break down what Operation Forest Stalker is. I think it's really important, and this is what we're doing going forward. The objective of Operation Forest Stalker, and we do have a complete operational plan. It's to design and implement a scientific, methodical operation aimed at gathering definitive evidence of Bigfoot's existence through data collection, biological sampling, and behavioral analysis. And there's going to be a bunch of different things. We're going to site selection will be based on high frequency sighting reports, dense forest ecosystems, and reliable food and water source systems as well. We're going to apply primate behavior models to the activity witnessed, and we're also going to apply, psychological models to witness testimony as well. And what we plan on doing is establishing observation posts in suspected areas, data collection, which will consist of physical evidence, biological evidence, and audiovisual evidence. Of course, we're going to have structured witness interviews and correlate new accounts with the historical sightings. We're going to use a whole bunch of that. No. Again, the purpose of the thing is to design and implement a scientific, methodical operation aimed at gathering definitive evidence of Bigfoot's existence through data collection, biological sampling, and behavioral analysis. And when I mean behavioral analysis, I mean that mostly of the behaviors of the creatures themselves. Because as you see, the last 4 books I've written, The Psychology of Bigfoot, Bigfoot, A Scientific Examination, The Squatch Detective's Guide to Bigfoot Investigations, and What Would Sasquatch Do, Volume 2, contains all the information we need to move forward, to analyze, and to attack the problems. That was the whole purpose of writing those books. And the reason why I wrote those books is not only to educate people about, the creatures themselves, but also to give people the proper tools to go out and investigate using an investigatory approach and a scientific approach. So now everything is starting to congeal into the actual purpose of everything. And Randy, no, it won't be an alternative to the BFRO. This is a privately funded, private research project that we are going to. One of the things we're going to do is, let me just continue on. But before I get into that, we're going to maintain a lot of transparency in our operations. Some of the information will be communicated via this channel. There may be a entire separate channel dedicated to it eventually. And of course, there'll be website updates. I wouldn't expect an update till after the fall of this year, though. It's not going to be something that's tomorrow, next week, next month. Now, I have always had this pragmatic approach towards Bigfoot evidence. when I investigated, say, the Vermont trail cam photo, which annoys the hell out of me when people look at something for 5 seconds and they say, that's this, or that's that, or that's
Right.
this,
Right.
because we've spent months giving it to people that are experts in their particular fields, like photography or, optics. And we've taken the time to go out, to be boots on the ground on the scene, to take measurements, to look at the equipment, to interview witnesses. And then we put it all together, and then we assess, and then we meet. So my process has always been the same, and I've always kept a council around me. And when I say council, I mean COUNSEL, council, around me to make the best determination, whether it be a scientist or scientists or other, particular people that have expertise in different areas.
Right.
And I've always used them to rely upon making any final determinations or final reports.
Yeah.
It's the way it should be done. It's the way it needs to be done. The way I've always done things.
Well, I think it's important to investigate the evidence thoroughly before you ever release it, and that's
right.
That's part of it. It'd be irresponsible just to say, "Hey, I got this picture from some unknown source, and here's what it is," But no. Well, that's an interesting question. Velvet Jones pops up, says, "Do you think a known area with alleged encounters blanketed with mosquito traps would be a definitive tool for DNA collection?"
I don't know. I've never taken DNA from a mosquito before.
Well, I imagine you would have to extract the blood that they drink, but I don't know if you could get it after it's been going.
Well, my only issue with me is that the mosquito is hitting so many different animals over a period of time. Would the blood be cross-contaminated? Right. What we want to do is do a very controlled experiment and get a pure sample of whatever is, attacking whatever we decide on.
But that's a thought, though. Hey, they remember Jurassic Park. They took blood out of a mosquito and made dinosaurs. Maybe we can make a Bigfoot.
Science, not science fiction, Bennett.
Like the movie, that would work as a good storyline for a movie.
But that is a thought, and I will run it up the ladder when we start getting more people assigned to the idea committee. That's not a bad idea.
Sure.
I won't shoot it down, but my initial thought is there'd be maybe some contamination, but there are new methodologies now to parse that contamination as well.
Right.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yep. Yeah. Velvet just said that. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe a particular idea.
But
here's the problem with that. The particular, at least in research area 1, which this was originally geared for, that particular area doesn't have many mosquitoes during the busy time of year. So when we're out there in September, October, November, the mosquito count's very low there. The mosquito season is just about done with, because we tend to see more activity in the slightly cooler weather as the fall approaches.
Well, the one area that I went to when I did the follow-up on the family group hillside video, that area there had a lot of flying insects and stuff around that area where they were at.
Oh, Mick.
Very possible.
I understand that. And that Rorschach test also can have many people believing it's an owl. The issue with that is we tested a ghillie suit, and the issue with that is, I say, not that you believe that, but we've tested the ghillie suit theory. It didn't work. You could actually see the seams in the ghillie suit as somebody. And then the fact is, it wasn't hunting season. And why would somebody be walking with a ghillie suit, no weapon, in a guy's front yard? Makes no sense at all, especially when it's not hunting season and the whole area is marked as no trespassing. Kind of hard to explain. My guess is that it is some sort of animal at the very least.
Well,
Granted, it wasn't even wabbit season.
I liked it. That's the only thing I can say about it because I wasn't there and I didn't see the creature in person, but I like the photo.
Right. Now, some of the things we're going to be doing on this project too, peer review, and we're going to partner with independent scientists to review our findings, and we're going to ensure transparency and apply rigorous scientific methodology where we can. We're going to follow up with any DNA analysis that we can, and we're going to use reputable labs for genetic sequencing. So there will be no veterinarians from Texas.
Okay, yeah, I got that. And if Thomas Markham is listening in the background, jump in there, Thomas, and tell us what have you been doing on Expedition X over in Harlan County, Kentucky. I would like to know. We have inquiring minds would like to know.
And finding the trackway just bopped back in. What did I miss? You will get your invite into the project, Bill. I will say that first and foremost. I've worked with you in the field. I like what you do. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Operation Forest Stalker.
You watch that channel too, Grant?
I have no idea what that is.
I think it's the same one I'm thinking of. It's a Kentucky YouTube channel. Guy goes out and shoots stuff and blows things up. You know, it's kind of like a man's channel. If you like firearms, things like that.
I know I'm not tripping. What the fuck? Sean, it's a dog on the fucking riding lawnmower cutting the grass. I got a video of this.
All right, just a little quick humor break there.
Yeah, that's Kentucky ballistics. Yeah, I would like to if you could train the dogs to mow the yard.
We just needed that little break. We haven't done something funny in the channel.
I love that. I think, though, I think that's probably somebody using a remote control.
Yeah, I just hope we don't get gigged for the music on that. But
surely not.
You never know.
Well, we just did I just suspected that. Wonder if it could be remote control. So we're talking about the video and trying to find out how the dog did it. But if you could train a dog to mow the lawn, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Let them earn that dog food and those treats.
Well, there we go. We talking about Jeff Meldrum, John? Because this just got announced today.
Huh. Oh, okay.
Now there's a lot of things popping up. One of the other things too is that we will also use ethical considerations in everything we do. We're going to ensure minimal ecological disturbance, and we're going to adhere, obviously, to wildlife protection laws as well. We will try to do real-time updates where possible. We're going to produce, any needed documentaries. Oh, Jeff Harding, yeah, absolutely. Documentary and publications. And we may or may not, depending on what we come up with, be able to do a peer-reviewed scientific article. So again, the whole purpose of this is to elevate Bigfoot research to a new level, and elevate it to a new level of scientific rigor and credibility. And obviously, we want to produce conclusive, peer-validated evidence of Bigfoot's existence, and that is that would be the whole goal of the project. So, So yeah, it's a ton of stuff going on.
I don't know, Mick. If you put them in a dress and heels and stuff, Sasquatch might take them on a prom date.
That's right.
That would be rough. But yeah, Grant, you're right. It was Kentucky Ballistics I was thinking of. Yeah. But yeah, I have watched this other one. Last show and aired today. I'll be dang. I'll have to go check it out, Grant. Yeah, I've watched that one too. My brain sometimes gets YouTube channels crossed. I watched so many, especially when you're stuck in the house, can't get out, and you're sitting in front of a monitor. I really watch a lot of YouTube stuff.
And again, my whole aim on this project too is a no-kill project.
Right.
You know, we're not going to try to hunt one down. We're not going to try to kill one. This is trying to be as non-evasive as possible, which has always been my system of doing things.
No, Mick, it's a Grizzly bolt action 50 BMG. No, that thing weighs 37 pounds, and I would not carry it 6 miles back into the woods for it. Because that means you have to carry it 6 miles back. So, yeah, 37 pounds is a lot of weight. Oh, no, Grant. No, I'm not doing my own documentary, and I'm not getting Milli Vanilli to do the soundtrack. Although I wouldn't complain if they did. That would be great.
Well, Millie or more Vanilli, one of them is dead.
Oh, are they? Oh no, that's terrible.
One is.
Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you could just put
one of them actually took his own life.
Oh, well, they played,
and the other one actually is now really singing the music of the past. Really? And he's actually incorporated the singers that actually sung it into his shows.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's like everybody kind of made up on that. It wasn't really their call; it was their manager's call, who passed away several years ago.
Right.
Very interesting. Wasn't it you that said it as a?
I don't know. They were lip syncing though. I remember that was a big controversy.
Well, the funny thing is when they originally did it, they weren't lip syncing, but their soundtrack ended up, it wasn't them, and then they went on tour and they were told they had to lip sync. And they were, what are they? They were 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, 21-year-old kids that were dirt poor, that were now being thrust into this spotlight. Very interesting story to watch the whole. There is a movie on it. It's very well done. So yeah, if anybody has any interest in that, I always like watching biopics and stuff of interesting things, especially when it comes to like pop culture, like what happened in the 80s. I mean, that was a big story back in the 80s.
We have a lot of boom discussion going on over there. Yeah. Well, we're typically, we're no kill philosophy, but always go in the woods. Always be armed, because it's more important that you come home than you don't.
Right. Now, I don't usually go into the woods armed, but I do carry a lot of less lethal stuff.
Yeah, bear spray, stuff like that.
Right.
But if you're in an area where you have mountain lions or heaven forbid, black bears or brown bears, oh yeah, protect yourself.
Well, bear spray works wonderful, especially mainly for black bears.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I could pull the bear spray out quick enough or something. The bears scare me.
Well, I got to tell you, I got to tell you, this is a real life experience. I was down in Texas, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this pit bull came running out of the woods.
A pit bull.
Pit bull. And he looked aggressive as all hell.
Well, yeah, they look like that naturally.
I tell you what, it didn't take me nothing but a second to pull out my bear spray and have that at the ready. And that dog was about 2 seconds from getting sprayed.
Yeah.
And then his owner came around the corner and went, "Yo," and yelled at his dog.
Yeah.
Which stopped him.
Well, I've seen lots of bears over on in eastern Kentucky, Tennessee, especially when you get around the Smoky Mountains and Cherokee, North Carolina areas. There's lots of black bears there. And I've always seen them from the comfort of the car, looking out the car window with the window rolled up. So, those didn't bother me. The one that popped out of the bush and brush in New Mexico, that bothered me. Okay. Bears scare me, and I'm not ashamed to admit that.
Well, grizzly bears scare me, not so much black bears.
Oh, I'm scared of any of them. No, black bear scared me to death. I had a fishing pole. Like, what am I going to do? Hit him with a rapala bait? Oh, man.
Yeah, Mick, well, that's what meth will do to you. Mick just said bear spray didn't work on Haku, the wrestler. He just inhaled it and proceeded to beat up 6 cops. Yeah, when you're on meth, usually that doesn't help. But as long as the bear isn't on meth, we're good to go. As long as it's not cocaine bear.
Yeah. I was just fixing to say. I watched that movie again a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
That was good for kicks.
I love it. It's hilarious. This bear runs like 70 miles an hour down the road too. He's oh boy. But that's kind of like that movie they made, Sharknado. It's kind of like that. I like those type movies.
Mick says, I didn't know Haku did drugs. They all did. They all did some sort of speed, a lot of them, because of at the time of their road schedules. Now wrestlers have it a lot different. They don't wrestle as much. In fact, like shows like AEW and WWE, WWE especially has scaled back a lot of their house shows. So whereas back in the wrestling days, they used to do TV tapings a couple of times a week, and then they used to be on the road 4 or 5 days a week. So they were lucky if they got a day or 2 off a month. So
yeah. Oh, I love the professional wrestlers. That was good. We used to go watch those when I was a kid. And after they had been in the ring beating each other to death, typically around here, they would go to Wendy's in Cave City, and you would see the same guys that had been beating each other to death at the same table having Wendy's burgers and stuff. Kind of made you wonder.
So only this chat would say, hey, maybe they should make a sequel to Cocaine Bear and make it Meth Bear. Only this chat would say something like that.
You know what? That would be good. I'd watch it. I love movies like that. I've seen all the Sharknado films, which they're so ridiculous, but it's funny. It's hilarious.
Well, Cocaine Bear was actually based on a roughly true story.
Yeah, it was.
The whole beginning of that movie, where the guy was throwing the cocaine out of the airplane.
Yes. Yeah.
And the plane crashed and the guy died. That was all true. And yes, there was a bear that ingested the cocaine, but they found him dead.
Yeah. He
ate a kilo of coke, and it ended up, he must have had a good time for 20 minutes of his life.
Right. They let their imagination run wild on his antics prior to dying, but the bear was overdosed on cocaine because he ate the whole dang pack, or maybe more than one. I don't know. But it was based on a true story. Oh my goodness.
The office assistant is sound asleep. That's because he had a huge bone before the show.
Yeah.
And he is got a full belly and he's out like a light.
So Jen says when I went to the WWE's, goes to Denny's afterwards. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. Denny's was open, 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
That's a place to get something to eat late at night.
Right. Well, in the 1970s, these wrestlers would go around and they would do wrestling matches at like the high school gymnasiums and things like that. And that was just common. You go Friday night wrestling, and it was like, every other month or something. It was pretty common. And you would see all these bad guys like Gypsy Joe, and I don't know if you guys remember any of these Tojo Yamamoto.
Yep.
Oh gosh, Andre the Giant.
Well, Gypsy Joe just passed away.
Oh, he did. Dang. Dutch Mantell, the Dutchman.
Yep.
Coco Ware, Stagger Lee.
Hey, shout out to the Dutch Mantell podcast.
Yes, he's got a good podcast, and I have caught some of those. Very good stuff.
Yes, I happen to like James Romero's stuff that he does with Dutch and with Stevie Richards and stuff. Really does. He was doing stuff a while with Shane Douglas for a while. That was some good stuff.
Right. And we would go watch these guys, and then afterwards we'd go cruising. The local cruising spot at that time was Cave City. You go drive around the restaurant, circle and circle and circle. And
we'll have to do that in our we'll have to do that in our comments tonight. Do a shout out to Dutch.
Yeah,
because I know Dutch has been dealing with a lot of health issues lately.
Yeah.
Him and his wife they were both in the hospital, and they don't get a lot of great health insurance. Posting. I'm sure he's on Medicare, and you know what that does.
Right. It's not too great.
So yeah, he had a GoFundMe going for a while because him and his wife were both in the hospital and in rehab for separate issues, and they were really, really sick. Like Dutch was in intensive care for a little bit. So, but good to see he's back at it and fighting like a champ.
Yeah. He was a great wrestler. I've seen him wrestle many times in person and was thrilled to death every time. What a show, man! What a show.
Of course, I was at the Royal Rumble in 1992, which was held in Albany, New York.
Yeah.
And that's where the winner of the Royal Rumble that year and won the World Heavyweight Champion was Ric Flair.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where Hogan got thrown out at the last minute.
Right.
And that was also the same Royal Rumble where Roddy Piper won the Intercontinental Championship from the Mountie.
Yep. What? Trackway, you're fooling nobody, Chris. We all know about Chris the Animal Bennett and how you ate ring turnbuckle pads. No. Oh no. I've watched plenty of wrestling.
Oh, that's interesting too. From John, Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks.
Oh yeah, he was from Kentucky.
No. Hacksaw.
Wait, no. I'm thinking of a different one. My bad.
You know where Hacksaw Jim Duggan was from?
No.
Glens Falls, New York.
New York. Okay. Yeah.
Just 15 miles north of here, where I'm at. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan's father was the Glens Falls police chief for a number of years.
Oh my goodness. I can't even think of his name now, but there was a Hillbilly Jim. That's it. Hillbilly Jim. He was from Kentucky. Yeah, I met him at Glasgow, Kentucky. He about run over me coming out of the elevator at the hospital.
So, as funny as it sounds, there is another one of the independent wrestling leagues, but a popular one, especially in Kentucky. And hang on. Especially like from the Kentucky Mid-South area.
Yeah.
And I had met him at Scarefest. He came up and we had a great 2-hour conversation. We hung out for a little bit. And great guy, great, but Vic the Bruiser. I don't know if you've heard of Vic the Bruiser.
Vic the Bruiser.
He was a regional champion in Kentucky and those Mid-South states for he just retired like a little over a year ago.
Right. Familiar, but I don't remember ever watching him.
So him and I are friends on Facebook. We chat every once in a while.
Yeah.
Of course, Rockin' Randy Stewart's another friend of mine too on Facebook as well. So I know a couple of professional wrestlers.
Oh, loved that when I was younger. And what a great way to spend your youth on, especially like on Friday nights, going to the high school gymnasium and watching these wrestling matches and these guys just really battling it out. Then afterwards, they'd go and have a meal together at Wendy's. Or, what was the other restaurant? I can't think of it. It's kind of like a Shoney's Big Boy. It stayed open like 24 hours. I can't remember.
Hang on 1 second, Chris. I got to refresh my beverage real quick.
Go ahead, man.
I had to go through it that fast.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, I was thinking Hacksaw Jim Duggan, but it was, Hillbilly Jim. That was from Kentucky. Yeah. I met him over in Glasgow, Kentucky. I was going into the hospital to visit somebody, and the elevator door opened up, and then the doorway was filled with this huge man, and he had to duck down to go out of the elevator door because he was taller than the doorway of the elevator. And as he was coming out, he about ran straight into me. If he had, he would probably knock me down because this guy is huge. Hillbilly Jim. And I don't know for sure, but I think he may have been from Slick Rock or Black Rock. I can't remember. But Mud Lick. Yes, Boris. Mud Lick. That's right. Yeah, we got a lot of backwoods towns around here. Mud Lick, Mud Camp,
Paint Lick,
Slick Rock, Black Rock,
Slick Rick. So I decided the hell with it. I'm going to go completely hillbilly.
Okay.
I decided, I'm not going to get up and go get another glass of beverage or whatever. I'm just going to drink it out of the 2-liter.
Well, there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
And that's been sitting in my freezer.
A 2-liter and a long straw. I don't know why somebody doesn't make a straw to fit a 2-liter.
Walter says too late.
Yeah. Here we got on the subject. We're supposed to be talking about Bigfoot and Sasquatch, and we end up talking about professional wrestling. I'm sorry, guys.
Well,
but when you get on a tangent, which we sometimes tend to do,
people will say, well, how can this person that likes professional wrestling have to do anything with, science? Because it's pop culture.
Yeah.
And the 80s transformed professional wrestling into pop culture.
Yeah.
It started with the Rock and Wrestling connection with Hulk Hogan and Mr. T and Roddy Piper and Paul Warren, Mr. Wonderful and Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou. And it started that whole pop culture revolution that is never, wrestling has never been the same since.
Right.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
Well, they did wrestling on in the TV studio on Saturday. Saturdays or Sundays?
Saturdays, WTBS.
Okay. And so we started watching it live. They would show it live while they were filming it while they were doing it. And so you'd see a lot of stuff that's like, oh, that was an accident. Oh, he fell off the top rope.
No. In actuality, the it wasn't live. Believe it or not, it was pre-taped that morning. Oh. They would tape it in the morning and replay it at 6:00.
Well, I watched it on WBKO, and they were
Oh,
showing.
maybe you're not talking about Georgia Championship Wrestling.
No, that's different. Yeah, yeah. This one had, gosh, I can't think of the names. Oh shoot, man, it's not there. Lance Russell. Lance Russell. He was the commentator there that would call the wrestling stuff. Lance Russell and Dave something. Oh gosh, it's been too long, man.
Right.
I'm trying to recall stuff back from the 1970s, and it's there, but it's buried deep.
I mean, you want to age myself. I went to the RPI Fieldhouse in Troy, New York, and watched Bob Backlund defend the title. He was the champion before the Iron Sheik, who Hulk Hogan beat.
Okay. Yeah, that was WWE or WWF. I can't separate those.
Actually, it was the WWWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
Okay.
Then it went to the World Wrestling Federation, and then because of the impending lawsuit by the World Wildlife Federation,
Right.
well,
we had the Iron Sheik was this big, huge guy. All right. Before him, there was a wrestler called the Sheik, and he was not a big guy, and he was actually not that young of a fella either. The Sheik was kind of old, but he would pull out and light a fireball and throw a fireball right on these guys, and it was this flash paper, so it was really nothing, but everybody's like shocked. Oh my God, it's a fireball!
So you remember when the WWF had to change their name to the WWE? You remember the meme that came out afterwards?
No.
When the World Wildlife Federation won their lawsuit against the WWF, now the WWE. There it is.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I've never seen that. That's so great. I love that. Panda bashing another panda with a chair. Oh my God. Oh, quit making my face hurt, man. A panda bashing another panda with a chair. That's wonderful. But most of these wrestlers that I watched when I was a kid, they weren't young guys. Tojo Yamamoto was fairly old. Okay, and
so is the Sheik.
Yes, the Sheik was old, but they'd still get in there and beat up on each other, regardless whatever you think of it. Okay, as if it's a performance or whatever, they're still getting slammed on the ground, boom, on the mat, which it may have some give to it, but if I got slammed like that, I would be down for a month. I don't care if the ring does have a little give to it, I would still be down for a month.
The Robert Van Duman says he saw the Iron Sheik outside the Cobo Arena in Detroit. He pulled up in a taxi. Yeah. So the funny thing is like the Iron Sheik was really an Olympic wrestler.
Oh yeah, he's huge. Yeah.
But he wrestled for the United States. A lot of people didn't realize that.
I didn't know that.
He was from Tehran, Iran, but he immigrated to the United States and wrestled on the U.S. Olympic wrestling team. Yeah, Boris Khan said, they got popped for having marijuana. So I don't know if that's really a big deal anymore. Because in New York, that would not have been illegal today.
Yeah, in the 70s and 80s, that was pretty common anyway, But it
wasn't like they got pulled over for cocaine and meth.
No. And most of the stuff that was floating around then was grown locally, and it was like really weak, really weak. It was stuff like they made rope out of, things like that. Not what they have today. Like you walk past a group and smell a little smell, and next thing you know, you're tripping for 3 hours. What's that smell? I don't know, but my head feels weird.
Well, anyway, this turned out to be a great wrestling show, too.
No platypuses were harmed in the taping of the WWE. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Gosh, what was his name? Jerry the King Lawler. I remember him. He was a good one.
His very interesting, a sad story about Jerry Lawler is that his son was Brian Christopher, and you may have known him as part of the tag team Too Cool. And Brian eventually kind of flunked out of wrestling after a while, got arrested for something or another, was in the county lockup, and they found him deceased.
Oh, no. Yeah. Tragedy. That's terrible. But yeah, we used to watch them, and a lot of times on the live shows, or they portrayed it as live. When you have Coco Beware, okay, he was an African American wrestler.
Yep, had a in the WWE. He had a parrot named Frankie,
and Coco Beware had these huge thigh muscles. They were the size of a dang 55-gallon drum. Okay, and then he got in some trouble, and he got banned from wrestling for a little while. Well, lo and behold, there was another guy that came out dressed with a mask on called Stagger Lee. And sure,
yeah.
Everybody's looking at those legs and they're saying, "Wait a minute." That was Coco Beware with a mask. He wasn't fooling nobody. But I think they wanted you to know,
Yeah.
But such drama back in those days. It was really good.
Well, drama even to this day. When you look at some of the stories, one of the more interesting programs I find is the Vice series Beyond the Mat. And that goes into the dark side of professional wrestling, and really very interesting stuff. But one of the more darker tales was that of a wrestler by the name of Rock and Roll Buck Zumhoff.
Right.
And he is in prison for, crimes against children.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And he was one of the face wrestlers at the time. Yeah, so there's a lot of dark and dirty stuff that went behind the scenes of any type of loosely. Now it's much more corporate.
Right.
So you're probably going to be less likely to find the stories that you see from the 70s and 80s and 90s and even early 2000s that you see that go on now. Now everything is corporately run and owned and done in a whole different manner. Now that the chairman has been basically booted from his position.
Oh, man. Now, I tell you what, I will admit, back late last year, there was some stuff going on, and I won't get into politics, but somebody was pronouncing a name of Kamala, and somebody was pronouncing a name Kamala. Now, there was another wrestler by the name of Kamala.
Giant Kamala.
And I thought to myself, he was, Kamala, the Ugandan
giant.
And I went on Google and started looking him up. And I found him. I was like, well, whatever happened to him? And he had, I think, diabetes, and he had to have his legs amputated. So I think I found he was still alive, maybe, or
No, he passed away
can't
recently.
remember. Okay,
He did
maybe.
pass. But you know, you think about it, a lot of those big guys, they weren't in good health.
Yeah.
You know, Haystacks, Calhoun, Gorilla Monsoon, Kamala, the One Man Gang, Bam Bam Bigelow. They were all very obese men.
Right.
You know, Typhoon. I'm surprised Fred Ott, aka Typhoon, aka the Shockmaster, is still alive
Right.
and doing well because he was another big man. Stan Hansen is still alive as well, and he was another big man.
But I remember when
there's another great example, Yokozuna.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
I remember when they introduced Kamala as the first time they introduced him as a new wrestler. You know, he was introduced as being the Ugandan giant.
Ugandan giant.
And they said you know, of course, you know, this is all show. They had they said, oh, we have videos. Lance Russell said we have videos of him wrestling animals, but we can't show it on TV because it's just too gory and violent. And and I think Kamala said that, man, he'd never been to Uganda. It's from Mississippi, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It's been several months, but I think he'd never been to Uganda. But I love that. I love that stuff. That was those were the
days. You know, the chat is really flying now.
Well, I think we found something that everybody can relate to, or not everybody, but most people can relate to the wrestling industry.
Yeah. Now, somebody remembered the Shockmaster entrance. I don't know if you've ever remembered this, but if you haven't seen this video on YouTube, look it up. It's called the Shockmaster. And Fred Ott, who was Typhoon in the WWE, or Tugboat in the WWE, went back to WCW, and they were doing a promo where Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, and Sting were face to face with Sid Vicious, aka Sid Justice. Ric Flair was there, and I believe I it'll come to me. But they were talking about, you know, their surprise tag team partner, and it's going to shock the world. I mean, it was just such bad scripting to begin with. Yes, Haku is there, and the stage was built so the Shockmaster could come crashing through the wall, right? But instead, they put a 2x4, accidentally put a 2x4 about shin length. So when he went crashing through the wall, he fell flat on his face.
Oh my goodness.
Now, the helmet he was wearing, again, very poor. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking, but they put him in a stormtrooper helmet that was basically painted up with like purple glitter.
Right.
The helmet goes flying off him, and he grabs it quick and puts it on. And all you can hear in the background are the other wrestlers there laughing their butts off.
Yeah.
Right. And then you hear Davey Boy Smith in the background say, he just fell flat in his ass. So if you get a chance, Google that and watch it. It's hysterical.
Well, give me the name again, Steve. I'm gonna write it down.
The Shockmaster entrance.
Shockmaster entrance. I'm gonna look this up. Now, somebody asked. I think it was Melvin Grant. I can't remember. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sorry, I put it up there. Want to know how tall Andre the Giant was? I had seen Andre the Giant when I was like 11 years old,
He was
and
billed
I
at
was
7'4".
7'4". Yeah, yeah, I looked it up. 7'4". But when I was 11 years old, it was incredible. I just couldn't fathom how huge this person was.
Yeah, that's very true, Bill. Piper did break a coconut on Snooka's head. I remember Piper talking about that, saying, "Well, I had this coconut and I just hit him with it. It just."
Oh, I didn't know that. Grant said Andre had a heart attack in the ring when Jake the Snake took his snake out. I know a lot of people that do not are absolutely terrified of snakes, and it doesn't matter. They're absolutely terrified of snakes. And one guy was from Hawaii, and Brian. Brian, what was your last name?
What was
Oh
that?
man, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember this guy from Hawaii. I was in the Air Force with.
Oh,
Yeah, he was from Hawaii, and his name was Brian. I can't remember his last name, but he was absolutely terrified of snakes because he had never seen one other than on TV. Because they didn't have snake. He told me, he said they don't have snakes in Hawaii. And but when we were in New Mexico in Alamogordo, there were snakes there. Okay, yeah, you could see snakes everywhere if you looked. No, 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 no. No, that would never happen with me. No.
yeah, he was. Yeah, that was.
Ooh.
No, Chris.
Oh no, no, that's not for me. No. And it's not that I would be afraid of that snake. No, it's just that they're creepy. I don't like them.
That's more your speed.
I don't really want one of those either. But I would just soon have that on my lap as have that snake on my shoulders.
Oh, come on now. That's a Saharan desert tortoise.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
In fact, it was kind of funny because just prior to that, he actually walked up to me and I was feeding him grass, hand feeding him.
Yeah. Not worried about the fingers at all, were you?
No. He's a tortoise. He's not a snapping turtle.
Yes. Kaiju Ninja 1985 says, Chris, have you ever encountered any snakes while researching? Yes. In Kentucky, you will always encounter snakes.
I encountered. Chris would have lost his shit.
Mm.
But I was up in Whitehall area, down by the Poultney River, and all of a sudden, crossing the path was a black 8-foot corn snake. It's probably the biggest snake I've ever seen in the wild.
If I know what it is, and I see it from a distance, they don't frighten me.
Well, he was black, and he had black like camouflage on him.
Yeah.
But he's a corn snake.
If you walk up on one, and the next step you make, you're fixing to step right in the middle of him as he's coiled up, that bothers me. I will do some high stepping. But in my defense, it is because I have stepped on a rattlesnake and got bitten. My jeans were bitten by the rattlesnake. So, yeah, I'm a little concerned about the venomous snakes. They can't hang. If it had not been for the seam in my jeans, he would have gotten my leg. But as it turned out, he got the seam of my jeans and only scratched my leg and did not get the chance to sink them fangs in there. But boy, he was trying. That head was doing this number. He was really, really trying to get those fangs in. Scared me to death. I don't care to tell you. I took off running about I probably ran 100 yards or maybe probably 50 yards before my senses returned and it said, wait a minute, if you've been snake bit, your heart is pumping, you're pushing this stuff right through your veins, you're going to be dead before you get home. And
Kaiser Ninja had a good question.
you think Bigfoot have been killed by venomous snakes?
Well, here's the interesting thing. Hard to say. You don't hear about too many chimpanzees dying of poisonous snakes, do you?
I think it's possible, but it's also possible that, the way they get their antivenom, they inject a horse with the venom of a snake. So something with a very strong metabolism that can handle a snake bite. And they collect the antivenom, the antibodies, whatever it is, from the horse. And so it is possible, because of their large size, a venomous bite wouldn't be as deadly to them as it would to you or me.
I tell you what, if I was the horse, I would not be happy.
No, that's not a good deal. No.
Suppose it's better than the glue factory.
But at least, they're not letting the snake bite the horse, though. That would not be a good job to have. But I think because of their metabolism, they can handle it. And
yeah, well, we know that a Sasquatch probably does not have that high of a metabolism. It would be a primate-like metabolism.
Well, Mike, I think a snake could pierce through a Bigfoot skin. I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
There was I did read a story about a king cobra biting an elephant in Thailand, and the elephant had it got down. At the end of the day, the elephant had laid down, and they called in the veterinarian because, my God, if you lose an elephant, that's horrible. And the veterinarian said, well, I can't figure out what's going on. Has there been any snakes around? And they said they saw a king cobra earlier while they were on a trek out in the wilderness. This was like a tourist place where you could go out on a elephant trek. And but they didn't know if it'd been bitten. So the veterinarian gave the elephant antivenom, and it was able to recover. So, but the long story short is that the elephant skin was pierced by the king cobra. So there must be. I mean, it did a number on my rattlesnake. Did a number on where the genes are sewed together on the legs, that seam. His fangs it pierced through that, but not all the way.
Oh, so you've had a rattlesnake take a shot at you?
I've had one hang on my leg, yes, sir.
Oh, wow! And, now that would explain the terror towards seeing snakes.
Well, no, I'm not terrified of snakes, but I do wear snake boots in places where I'm going to have venomous snakes. Now, I do have friends that have
not necessarily terrified, but you do have an aversion to them.
Yeah, well. Anything that I can't identify immediately upon sight, if it's near my feet, I'm going to jump. And then after I jump and identify, oh, that was just a little rat snake, But a lot of times I have jumped and I was like, oh, wow, I almost stepped on a copperhead, another one. And rattlesnakes do not believe the hype. People will say, oh, don't worry, rattlesnakes will warn you before they bite. They'll rattle, you'll hear them. No, the one that hung in my leg did not make a sound until he hit. And then you could hear the little zip. So he got me just like that without making a sound.
It's funny. Last time I ever ran into a venomous snake, it was a copperhead.
Yeah.
And I was poking him with a stick. He was going after the stick. It wasn't a big fella.
Well,
It's like everybody was looking at me like, "Are you crazy? You're messing with that copperhead. Yeah, he ain't gonna bite. He's going after the stick. I mean, the stick was long enough, so it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, Grant, you are correct. Snakes can pierce leather boots. That's why I have snake boots, specifically snake boots, and they are not leather. Um, I think one could probably take a 9 millimeter shot without piercing it. They're really strong. But the bad thing is they are extremely, extremely uncomfortable, and they come all the way up, to your knees. So when you have to walk several miles in those, they're uncomfortable anyway.
you can always wear snake gaiters too.
Yeah, yeah, you can get those things. Yeah, what do they call those?
Gators.
Okay, that's a brand name, isn't it?
No, it's GAAITHERS, gators.
They wrap around your thighs in place of the boot, right? Yeah, that would probably be more comfortable. But hey, dude, I spent the money. I think it was like almost $300.
You know, it'd be more comfortable.
Yeah.
Nice air conditioned room at the
yeah. Yeah. No, Grant, there was not a snake in my boot. Or was he talking to somebody else? No, my car, I had been working. Okay, you mind if I tell this story, Steve? It take me just a minute. But I was living in New Mexico, and I worked there as a mechanic for the Air Force for a while. And at that point, I was also short on money. So I took side jobs late at night after I got off work in the evening.
So what you were saying was you were a snake handler?
No. I took side jobs, and I would work for a man named Bickham. And he had a used car lot there just outside of Alamogordo, New Mexico.
Oh, this is going to be a good story, folks.
So, yeah, I was short on money, dude. I was broke. And so, I would do like brake work. And, if he had something that he'd get in used cars, and they would be really crappy cars. And then I would fix them up for him. So one night about, I don't know, 8 or 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I don't know. It was late. It was already dark. During the summer, I was going home, and I did not have, honestly, enough money in my pocket to buy gas. And I thought, well, I'll get home. When I get home, I've got a little money there. I'll get some gas at the store when I get home. And I was running really low, and I thought, well, I'll be okay. Because it's only, from Alamogordo to La Luz, New Mexico, where I was living, it's only just a few miles. And I thought, man, I can make that on fumes. Okay, it's no big deal. The gas gauge was reading below E, so I thought I could make it on fumes. Well, as it turned out, I couldn't. The car ran out of gas. So I had to walk about, maybe 3 miles. And I thought, well, okay, I'll just walk back to the house. I'll get the gas jug. I'll come back. I'll put a gallon or two of gas in it, and then I'll go back home. So I'm walking down the side of the road. It's really dark, no moon, and the roads out there, the highways, they're kind of set up. They got 2 lanes going each way. It kind of looks like an interstate highway, but it's not. And they have a breakdown lane on the side. Well, I'm walking down the breakdown lane. Nobody's stopping to pick me up, and it's dark, so I'm just walking along. So that's okay. I'll get there eventually. And I remember thinking, what could be the worst thing that could happen would be for me to step on a snake in the dark. And no sooner had that thought crossed my mind, when I put my foot down, my foot rolled. I felt something under it roll. So I had stepped on a snake and kind of rolled him a little bit. And no sooner than I got that sensation that I stepped on him and rolled, something hit my pants leg. I mean, just that quick. And I could feel it pulling on my pants leg. Well, I knew instantly I had been snake bit, and it scared me to death. I kicked my leg up in the air, I did a war dance, which consisted of me like, and took off running. And, after I ran for a little ways, I realized, hey, wait a minute. You've been snake bit. You still got to walk home. You're going to be dead before you get there if you don't calm down. And I stopped and I could not see. I had a cigarette lighter, lit my lighter and looked at my leg, and I could see some blood on it, but I didn't see any puncture wounds. And what it was, where that dude had sunk his teeth into my, or his fangs into my jeans there. His teeth or his fangs did not go into my leg. But when he was doing this, it put scratches on my leg. Just like needle marks, scratch, 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 scratch. 5 or 6 places, and had broken the skin. Well, I got home and checked myself out better. Sure enough, I'm okay. Washed my leg off and everything. Did not go to the emergency room because I was not snake bitten. I was snake scratched. And they would have told me to, you had to bring the snake with you anyway. If they give you the wrong stuff, you're dead. So that was my experience with snakes. And never have been bitten by one in Kentucky. But I went back and found the snake the next day. I'd killed him. My
Revenge.
My war dance had killed him. Yeah, sure did. Because after I pulled him loose from my leg, I was jumping, and stomping the ground. And, I don't know. It was just, it's one of those things where terror took over, the fight or flight thing. Okay. I got the fight and the flight right there together. It was a rattlesnake. Yes. He never made the first noise before he struck my leg. When he struck my leg, there was a quick and that was it. And I think he probably made that sound while he was striking, not before. So the advice that people tell you, don't worry, you'll hear a rattlesnake before you get anywhere near it, is wrong. They can be laying on the side of the road at night out there in the desert, and you can step on one and it will bite you.
You just don't have any luck with snakes.
Well, I think I've been really lucky because that's the only time that I've come close to being bitten. I've walked up on many in Kentucky out in the woods, but luckily I've always seen them well before I stepped on them. But this time it was at nighttime and I could not see in the dark. I'm just walking down the side of the road. And the only reason I know I'm walking down the side of the road is because I can feel the blacktop under my feet. Okay. But when that thought hit my mind, what could be the worst thing that happened? You could step on a snake, and no sooner than I had thought that, it rolled under my foot. And that's just a horrifying feeling, man. I cannot stress how horrifying that is to have stepped.
I don't know. I can think of a lot more awful things, like, a predator comes driving by and kidnaps you, or
I don't have to worry
about that. Or a tractor trailer comes by and plasters you. I mean, I can think of 1,000 things.
I'm not pretty enough to have a.
You could get turned around and be completely going in the wrong direction and die of thirst the next day. I mean, because you're in the friggin' desert. I can think of a bunch of things that are worse than
only like
snake.
Probably it's 5 or 6 miles maybe between Alamogordo and
what's even worse is you could be walking in the dark and then all of a sudden you hear,
"Don't get me a Snapple."
There's a lot of things that could happen.
Oh man. Mick said, "How rude, Chris. Not only did you wake up the snake by stepping on it, but you killed it with a Texas two-step."
That's right.
I did. I got him. I was dancing and stomping, buddy. And you know, after I did my little war dance on it, I took off in a sprint as hard as I could go. I was terrified. But you think Chris has been bitten by snakes is bad? Just wait till he talks about when he was tested shark bite suits. No. No. Never done that and never would. You know, I am a firm believer in, if you've seen the movie Jaws, you'll never swim comfortably in the ocean again. Because I have always had that in the back of my mind. Anytime we would go to the ocean and I'm be out there from, you know, neck deep. Okay, I won't go out any deeper than that, but I'll go out neck deep. And it's always on my mind, especially if the water's not clear, and it never is in South Carolina or Florida. It's never clear. And I'm always concerned about sharks. And that goes back clean to the movie Jaws.
So, Kaiju Ninja says he hopes there is a platypus anti-venom. And I have an answer to that. Currently, there is no specific anti-venom available for platypus envenomation. The venom delivered through spurs on the hind legs of the male platypuses cause excruciating pain and swelling in humans, which can persist for weeks and is notably resistant to standard painkillers, and swelling in humans, which is notably resistant to painkillers like morphine. Treatment primarily focuses on managing symptoms, often involving nerve-blocking drugs such as bupivacaine, and to alleviate pain. Given the severity of the venom's effects and lack of targeted treatment, it's crucial to exercise caution and avoid handling platypuses in the wild. Here's your tip of the day.
If it's venomous, I'm not going to handle it. That's it.
And you know, the funny thing is you wouldn't think a platypus is venomous.
No. You would say, hey, look at this little...
Oh, look at this little thing. It looks like a duck. Maybe it's a beaver. Oh, my God, it's a snake, too. What the...
Do they have fangs? I don't know. Do they have fangs? Can they bite like a snake? I don't know. I'm not going to find out. You know, I'm not going to get close to them because those things got venom in them. No. It might, as far as I know, it might.
It's weird enough. It's got a bill like a platypus. It's got a bill like a bird. It looks like a beaver. It lays eggs and it's a mammal. But now it's got venom too.
Yeah. Weird. Oh, Mick. See. Mick says, question for Steve. Ever considered doing a show about the first Sasquatch research group you founded prior to Squatch Detective Radio?
I didn't really I mean, I ran a little grassroots thing. It was just me, called the Adirondack Research Organization. I had a little grassroots website. That was it. And I investigated stuff privately. I really didn't have a team. I didn't have any organization. I was wet behind the ears until about 2003, 2004. That's when I started to get mentored by people like Bill Brand and Paul Bartholomew. Of course, always in contact for years with people like Henry May, Eric Altman, Sean Forker, Melissa Huffey, Billy Willard. I mean, we were all part of that one gaggle. Darren Lee, D.W. Lee, we were all part of like the same class. So we all kind of, Eric had been in it for a little bit longer than the rest of us. So now it's really not much to say about that particular period of time. I did have a research partner at the time. He kind of fell off the map. So, Lori, hello, Lori. Yes, I did meet John Bernernagel back in 2008 when I was filming for Monster Quest, and he actually did evaluate the Fort Ann cast.
More platypus jokes. Well, first of all, let me put this in perspective here.
And rightfully so, Laurie. Great guy. Great guy. So I will give you a brief overview. I did in 2011, very beginning of 2011. It was filmed in February 2011. It didn't air till November of 2011. But the only other crypt that I really did a long-term research on or any kind of digging into was the Loch Ness Monster when I flew out to Inverness, Scotland to do the truth behind the Loch Ness Monster for NatGeo. So that was a very intense, 2-week process actually, it was more like a month-long process. I was starting to read up on the topic when they asked me to do the show, which was probably, I would say, December of 2010. And it was really quick. I mean, here I am 2 months later, and I'm flying out to Scotland to do that. So that was the only cryptid. Before that, in the early 90s, I did belong, and I was a field investigator for a UFO organization called APRO, the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, based out of Tucson, Arizona. Unfortunately, about 1994, it went defunct because the person who founded the group and owned the group basically died, and his wife really didn't do much of a great job keeping it running. So I kind of fell off the map with that particular group. And I never found UFO investigation to be very exciting because somebody sees something in the sky. What the hell are you going to do with that? Right. I always found the Bigfoot investigation the most involved because it's boots on the ground. You can get evidence. You have all the sciences that you can use to open up and investigate. Whereas the UFO stuff and the other cryptid stuff was a lot more speculative. Even the ghost stuff is much more speculative, although you can get certain pieces of evidence like audio, video, etc. But
yeah. And I've never investigated anything other than Bigfoot. No. But Steve's got that trip to Loch Ness under his belt. That was a good show.
That was
And
quite
if you hadn't seen it, it's what's the name of it? The Loch Ness Monster.
The truth behind the Loch Ness Monster.
Truth behind the Loch Ness Monster. It's National Geographic. Good video. And I always consider that that's a pretty good feather to have in your cap, Steve. That you did a Nat Geo special. That's pretty good, right?
I've done a couple actually.
Yeah.
Did Sasquatch Planet for Nat Geo in Asia and Australia. Mm-hmm. And that we got repackaged and branded for Monsters and Mysteries in America by Destination America.
Yeah.
Or Monsters and Mysteries Unsolved, I'm sorry.
I've always been interested in stuff too, though. I mean, other than Bigfoot, I always like mystery. I've been always been interested in UFOs. I've read books and stuff on them, but I'm just not a firm believer. I'm really a skeptic when it comes to UFOs. Even like if I've seen something that I can't explain myself, I don't tend to relate that to being off-world. Okay. Just because I don't understand what I saw, it doesn't mean that it was aliens.
Kaiju Ninja 19, did I look into Champ? No, I have not really. I've been to like Beluga Bay and by the sign and had some pictures by the sign. But really, the expense into doing water cryptids is redonkulous because you need a boat, you need sonar, you need all kinds of fun stuff like that.
Me too, Lori. Rory said, I wish I was flying to Scotland for any reason. Me too. I'd like to go check out the lake. Not that I would expect to see anything, but just being there, adds a little bit to the like one of the things to do on the bucket list. Visit Loch Ness.
So Jay says, put that. Can you put that on, Jay?
Steve, I always admire how you can say you're laboring for Bigfoot because it's interesting, not because it's about you, your experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've always found mysteries interesting. You know, think of my professional background. I was an investigator for many years. Everything I've done, when you're a paramedic, you're an investigator. You have a person with an unknown medical condition and you're trying to figure out what's going on with them. So you're still investigating. When, to me, mystery is exciting to me. And now I've been so entrenched in the Bigfoot mystery that it's really hard to get away from now. It's like, it's ingrained in me. Like thoughts come up several times a day about how can I improve that? Gee, that's an interesting question. You know, let me look at that. I'm always trying to find answers. Always trying to find answers. The quest for answers should never, ever stop. And the quest for education should never stop. And when I learn, I teach it. And that's, you know, part of my mission statement. So that you know, by teaching it, it reinforces my learning of it as well. That is something I learned. A lot of people don't know. I was a CPR instructor. I was a first aid instructor. I was actually a training officer for a fire company. So when you learn stuff and you train, and when you're training people on the stuff, you are learning it even better yourself. Every time you teach it, you're learning. You're re-educating yourself. So I always look at everything I do when I do lectures, when I do teachings. It's just reinforcing my education. And that's why it's exciting for me to teach, and it's exciting for me to do presentations because it solidifies my knowledge base.
And for me, I've always been interested in Bigfoot.
So Grant Rasha said Steve needs to plan an outing in the Adirondacks for his subscribers. Yes, it's done. So on September 26th, 27th, and during the day of the 28th, we're going to have an outing in the Adirondacks. Anybody that's interested, shoot me an email at admin@squatchdetective.com. Admin@squatchdetective.com. I'll put that again in chat. And what we're, you know, that is based around, now on the 27th is the Whitehall Sasquatch Festival. So that is always the big weekend for me. You know, and you can talk to a couple of members like Jen and Bill who were present and accounted for, people like Alex Petikoff, Mike Lucci from Kark, Eric Swanson, filmmaker Eric Swanson, have all been up there. And, you know, the one year we got the whoop call. So give me a holler. And yep, it's very near Whitehall. It's within a half hour of Whitehall. And the only reason why it's a half hour is because of the drive it takes to get to where we're going to go. Not because if you're looking at geographically, it'll take you about 10 minutes, but it takes a half hour because of the roads we have to take to get to where we need to be. It will not be an RV friendly gathering. I suppose if you have an RV, you could, a small RV, not a huge RV, not like a Winnebago, you know, not a Winnebago, but, you know, not a fifth wheel RV, but, you know, if you got like a little camper that
like 18, 20 foot, something like that, probably get in there.
There's a parking lot. There's parking lots that you can do, but it's not RV friendly. In other words, there's not going to be no place to plug into or anything like that. Yeah. It's all primitive camping. But if you want to bring a little pop-up camper with you, I'm sure you could, you know, park it in the lot and tent in there with not an issue.
Well, you know, I'm not a big fan of tents. I would like to own an RV, and matter of fact, I had been looking for one, but after 2020, everybody wanted like $5 billion for a used RV.
So, Grant, the actual location will not be given up until only to the members themselves. So that's where we're actually going to be.
Yeah. Nick said the fifth wheel RV would be out of the question. Yeah. Yep. For that area. But I love the idea of an RV much better.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an SUV, you can sleep in the back or sleep in the front seat. You can do that too if you don't want to put a tent up. They do have outhouses in some of the areas. It's a very primitive outhouse. It's made of wood, so. But we have a fire pit, an areas where we can put down tents, or community areas.
Bring your own toilet tissue or wet wipes. These things are important.
Not normally. I'll tell you what. I have, like I said, in that area, I've yet to see a bear, snake, or even a friggin' squirrel, to tell you the truth. I think we've seen a fox. We've seen a barn owl on the ground walking around, which is kind of interesting. But.
Well, the thing is, Grant, around here, I agree. And I've slept on an air mattress before, and they are nice. But around here, we have a problem with ticks.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
If you have a tent and it's placed on the ground, even if it's a sealed tent, it seems like those little rascals can get in the tiniest little nook and cranny. And before you know it, next time when you're in the shower room and you're taking a shower, you're like, wow, where do these 5 ticks come from that are dug in? You didn't even know they were there, but they've been feasting.
So what I normally do, and like I said, this is late in the year, so there won't be too much of a tick issue. I don't usually camp out until later in the year. I mean, this time of year, if I camp out, then there's a lot of big tick issue. But the only time I've ever had a tick issue is in Kentucky in the month of May.
Yeah.
And I woke up. I remember waking up and Ron Ball's going to me, "What's that on your neck, Steve? You got a tick on your neck." I did. I had a tick right there. Didn't even know.
Yeah.
And I sleep in a cot. I don't even bring in an air mattress. I put a cot in there.
Right.
And it got me on my cot.
You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked, especially this time of year. They're really, really bad. Really.
Now, I will say this: Finding the Trackway found this out, but there always seems to be a lot of activity around the outhouse for some reason or another.
They know sooner or later. Sooner or later, they're going to come walking by here. Yeah, okay. But people say that that's a myth that ticks climb trees or go up and drop down on you. It's absolutely true. I don't care who said that. You're wrong. Ticks can drop out of the tree and land directly on you. Now, will they usually put themselves out about 2 or 3 feet off the ground on plants and stuff? If they can, yeah, they will. Because that's where most animals walking by. But they will also drop on you out of trees. And I know this for a fact because it has happened to me. Yeah, ticks are horrible things. I really don't like them. Because you never know. Okay, you get 3 ticks off of you. Maybe all of them were just, healthy ticks and they didn't have this Lyme disease. But then again, maybe one of them did. And there you are. You got a bad situation. You're chewing antibiotics for a couple of months trying to get over that stuff. It's really bad. And now there's something else that they claim that if you get bit by a tick, you can develop that allergy to meat. You've heard this, right, Steve?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You can develop an allergy to meat.
Red meat, yeah.
Protein, yeah, if you get bit by a certain tick. So I don't know, what the heck is
one of my sister-in-laws got bit by a tick, and she ended up having to be induced in a coma because of it gave her cerebral encephalitis.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Terrible. But you know, at one point I kept this bottle of amoxicillin, and you know, after I'd pull ticks off on me, I would just, for a couple of weeks, I would take amoxicillin. Regardless whether I had the bullet rash or not, I would just go ahead and take the amoxicillin. But that's just me, okay? Everybody else go to the doctor or whatever you need to do. But I am kind of paranoid about the Lyme disease. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, and as a rule in that area, we rarely worry about snakes. We rarely worry about bear. It's not been, you know, you do hear coyotes every once in a while. I've never seen one. They've always kept their distance.
Right.
We do things in camp that keep the bad critters away, but draw in the interest of the critters we're looking for. Let me just put it to you that way. So,
and you know, although I do talk about snakes in this area, they're not really that bad. So if you come to the Mammoth Cave, South Central Kentucky area, you know, don't be frightened of snakes. There's not that many. They're not that bad. But now, if you go to Eastern Kentucky, over around Cumberland County, oh my God! If you pull off to the side of the road and walk out into a grassy field 10 feet and come back, you will have rattlesnakes hanging from both legs. They are horrible there over in Eastern Kentucky. But around here in this area, they are not really bad. You will see them, but it's not like everywhere you step, you're going to step on one. No, it's not. They're not that thick.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, man.
It's time to take us out.
Oh, no. Wow. Well, we've talked about everything tonight. I guess we've been having fun because time flies. If I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't do this.
That's right.
But thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate each and every one of you. I saw some new names in there tonight.
Yes, welcome aboard. And again, thank you to all our new members. We couldn't do this without you guys. And like I said, now that we're getting into the nice time of year, we'll be doing a lot more content-wise on the channel as, you know, the weather finally breaks. It still hasn't broke here. I mean, March definitely is going out like a lion.
Well, we've got some warm weather here now. So since I am walking again, I will be back out in the woods. And we'll maybe do some updates. If I come up with anything, you know, it's just one of those things. You can't come up with an update if there's nothing there to see. but we're keeping it real. And
we keep it real. That's right. We're not a clickbaity channel that puts out something for the sake of putting something out there.
Yeah. If we don't find something that's worth looking at every time we go into the woods, or we're not going to take a picture of every stick and say, oh, Bigfoot did this. No.
Oh, the gifting bowl.
But folks, if you're listening out there, especially you guys on the podcast, check out the YouTube channel over at youtube.com/@SquatchDTV. And make sure you subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already. And do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button, the like button on the way out if you hadn't already hit it. Because we're fighting that daily battle against the algorithm. But I always say it because I always mean it. You guys are the greatest audience we could ever hope to have. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you.
That's right, folks. And again, thank you. You guys are the greatest audience in the world. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for being here tonight. And again, a quick shout out to Dirty Dutch Mantell. Glad to see you're on the mend and back in action. Love your podcast as always, brother. And keep up the great work, you and James both. So, folks, on behalf of me and everybody else, we want to wish everybody a happy and safe, healthy week. We may be coming back to you Wednesday and Friday. We will see how Steve-O feels and if Steve gets beat up at work. But, yeah, because like I said, I've been working overtime on a number of projects, including the new book coming out, which is still top secret. And, folks, on behalf of everybody here again, We love you guys, and we'll see you all here next in a couple of days here, right here on Squatch-D TV. Check us out, youtube.com/@SquatchDTV. Love you guys. Peace out.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too. We don't want you to miss anything. If you really like our content, you should consider becoming a member, and it's really inexpensive and a great way to support not only the show, but honest Bigfoot research. Everyone have a great week. Be safe and God bless. We will see you all here next time on Squatch-D TV. Keep on squatching.